Okay, now it's time to talk about something I think you're going to find very helpful and actually help you start to see the forest through the trees. It's called the Avatar Goals Grid, and it's designed to help you find out the exact goals, frustrations, fears, and dreams of your avatar in their exact language. It's the first and most important step in helping you craft bulletproof messaging, campaigns, products, and ads that your customers will find irresistible. So if you've ever struggled with copywriting or quote unquote what to say in your marketing or ad campaigns, this training is for you. But first, as always, let's zoom out and talk about where we are in the training. This third installment in the Avatar course talks about who your customers are and what they need right now. If you remember in part one, the target market makeover, we helped you define your niche and your target audience. And then in the Avatar snapshot training, we talked about who they are and what they do. And now we need to focus in on the exact pains and frustrations, the problems that your customers need solved right now. Let's examine why this matters, why this is critical for everything else you do downstream related to your marketing. Let's be brutally honest and just put it out there and say that most of our marketing gets lost in translation. It's either too confusing, complicated, or bland, and it just plain doesn't resonate or motivate our audience to take action. Oftentimes, we don't know what to say or how to describe our programs or products. We pack on too many benefits and features, and we don't hit the nail on the head. And well, the bottom line is we just don't move the needle and motivate people to take action. So how do we get from lost in translation to complete motivation where we're hitting the nail right on the head? We're speaking to their top concerns and goals, creating more urgency, connection, and clarity, and more importantly, getting them motivated to take action, to take that next step in our funnel. The good news is there are just two simple steps to make this happen. Step one is you must ask them. Now, I mean you must, because a lot of us create programs or services or products based on what we think the audience wants and the words we think that are going to resonate with them. But you know, marketing can be boiled down to one simple strategy. Find a target group of people, aka your avatar. Ask them their biggest problem with X. So if you're a web designer, what's your biggest problem with your website? If you're a dating coach, what's your biggest problem with your relationships, your confidence, your career, your weight loss, whatever you do, right? What's that core currency that you help people with? What's that core business that you're in? You ask them, and then you craft a solution that solves that problem in a fixed timeline measurably. This is one of the most powerful things, yet most people just don't do it. You can't assume this is critical. Everything we do downstream, and this is not just part of the Fletcher method, this is part of every single business owner's success. Everything you do, every landing page, every website, every campaign, every ad, hinges on nailing your customers' goals, desires, pains, and frustrations in their words. So you're simply going to ask them. Now, when I cover the framework, I'll go into more detail. Step one is just ask them. Step two, after you ask them in a format that we're going to give you in this framework, what are their top goals, frustrations, fears, needs, desires, then you're going to decide. If your customers say, hey, here are my top frustrations with this, with my website, with my dating, with my fitness, with my confidence, whatever you're dealing with, then you're going to decide which of those problems you want to solve. And then we're going to show you how to put that into a measurable and powerful message that is absolutely irresistible to your audience. Does that sound cool? Let's move forward. It's time for a framework. So here we're looking at the Avatar Goals Grid framework. It's very important that you fill this out based on feedback from your audience. So if you don't have a target audience, let's just say you're brand new or you have an existing business, you're going after a new target market, guess what? You can get paid to do this. What do I mean by that? Well, check this out. Very, very cool. You can do a survey. Let's say I'm targeting bankruptcy lawyers. Let's say I'm targeting moms with toddlers. Whoever your target avatar is, I can do a survey on Facebook, LinkedIn, email, however else I can reach those folks, direct mail, and I can say, hey, we're doing a quick marketing survey, a quick fitness survey, a quick wellness survey of all the X, which is the avatar. We're doing a survey of all the bankruptcy attorneys in Illinois. We're doing a survey of all the single moms with toddlers this year, and if you participate, we'll share the results with you. So you can actually start your marketing funnel in advance before you even have the rest of your funnel set up by getting paid. Now, what do I mean by getting paid? You're generating leads. If you have your avatar defined, you ask them to fill out this survey, you can start to get leads in advance, but more importantly, the messaging that you get and the results of this survey are priceless to you. So you're adding value to them and it works for you. Now, if you have an existing customer base or list, it's even more simple, powerful, and straightforward. You simply say, hey, I have a survey. What are your top pains and frustrations right now with X? And they're going to list them. And you're going to get a huge list. You're going to put them all together and add the top ones that your audience has in common, right? And what are your goals and desires? What are your top goals right now with your investments, with your caregiving, with your financial future, with your weight loss, with your career, with your relationships, with your website traffic, with your leads, with your business, right? You know what you do. That's a core currency, the core business you're in. We're going to cover that a little bit more in the next training. But for now, keep it simple. These are the 4 big buckets. Your pains and frustrations now, your goals and desires now. Now, if you see here in the framework, there's an axis. We have now and eventual going vertically, and horizontally away and toward. This is really important because most people, as much as I hate to admit it, it's human nature, we're more likely to be motivated to move away from pain than we are towards pleasure. So sometimes in marketing, talking about the pain is okay. Sometimes it's actually more effective. I had a friend who had a blog, and one time he wrote a blog post, the healthiest recipes for young athletes at Whole Foods. That got a couple hits, maybe 5 likes on Facebook. But if he did the same exact blog post, the 5 deadliest or unhealthiest foods at Whole Foods for your child, the 5 things your child cannot eat, right? Then people are going to be concerned because we care about our kids. We care about negative things and risks. So just think about that. How can you put this together in a way that really acknowledges what they're moving toward and what they're moving away from? So that's the toward and away. Now in the vertical axis, we have now and eventually. And here's how simple this works. Right now they have pains, and eventually if they don't deal with those pains, they're going to turn it into big fears and implications. Let's just say I'm a dating coach and my pain right now is being single, not knowing how to talk to people of the opposite sex, not getting dates, not knowing where to find potential matches, being too busy. Well, what's the fear? What happens in the long term if I don't solve that pain? Well, you can imagine things like ending up single, never having kids, being lonely forever. Now, not to be kind of extreme here, but those are the real long-term, deepest fears implications. If you're a business consultant or coach, what are your pains and frustrations with your profitability or your leads or your staff or your schedule of being an entrepreneur, whatever business you're in? And they're going to say, well, I'm frustrated with lack of new customers. My customers, I can't increase my rates. I have staff turnover, whatever those things are. Well, then you're going to ask, well, what happens if you don't solve those? Or why does that matter to you? The key is we have to ask why. Whenever there's a pain or frustration, we say, why does that matter? Why is that critical? Why is that important? Then we move over to the goals and desires. What's your number one goal right now with your business, with your investing, with your relationship? Again, whatever core business you're in. They're going to make a nice list for you, and you're going to say, why does that matter? And you have to probe them. Because if I say my goal is to get more clients, why does that matter? Well, so I can make more money. Why do you want more money? So I can have more time and freedom and legacy make a difference. If people's top goal is to be more confident, to lose weight, whatever their top goals are, you have to dig into why. So this is extremely powerful. Don't be fooled by its simplicity, because in these 4 quadrants, you're going to capture the short and long-term goals, desires, what they're moving toward and away from in one page. And if you want to go a little bit more deeply into this, I highly recommend the book Ask by Ryan Levesque. He goes into a great strategy that's based on surveying your target audience. And again, there's 2 core steps. A deep dive survey saying, what is your core frustration with this? And then you get all the answers and you put them into buckets and say, okay, well, it looks like for my best customers, my hyperactive best avatars, the main 5 frustrations are this. And then you create products or programs or surveys around those. So that's some great bonus reading, but you don't need to do that to move forward. Just complete the avatar grid. And once you complete the avatar grid, we're going to talk about the currency calculator in the next avatar training. It's going to put everything we've covered so far together and help you come up with your core currency. We're going to help you refine your marketing message into one word.